Health Awareness Month, and it's a great time to focus on forms of self-care that help us thrive personally. Pour from a full cup. That's what we'll be talking about this morning with award-winning author Stacy Hawkins Adams. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So as we're coming out of Mother's Day weekend, a very, I'm sure, intentional topic for you, pouring from a full cup. What does that mean to you?
Absolutely. And first, happy Mother's Day to you.
Hope you had a wonderful.
Thank you. Yes, as mothers or mother figures, a lot of times you're giving, you're pouring out, or in whatever profession you might be in, even if you don't have children and you lead people or you work with a team, you're often asked to pour. And so if you think about a cup, if you think about a cup of tea, which maybe you shared with your mother or grandmother over the weekend, you've got that saucer. And so if you've got a full cup, if your cup is full, if your heart is full, if your spirit is full, if you're physically healthy and all the things you need to be, then that overflow is what you use to bless others and what you use to give to others.
Okay, so then we're saying that we really should be pouring from the overflow, not necessarily emptying our cup. So for those of us who need a refill,
yes,
what do we do to refill that cup to full?
You know, the goal will be to not let it get empty. So how do we learn how to practice self-care without considering that to be selfish? A lot of times we think if we need to take a few minutes, you know, to ourselves for a nap or to take a walk or to set a boundary about not doing too many things during the week. Setting those boundaries feels like we're being selfish to us, but it's really practicing self-care. So how do we get to the point where we can honor ourselves, our needs, and not feel selfish about it, but know that as long as we're balanced and we're taking care of ourselves, then we are going to be better for those around us.
That's right. You talked about selfishness. The word that was in my head was the mom guilt,
yes,
or guilt in general, moms or not. That usually starts to peek through before we are thinking about our own cup.
Right, right. And we are supposed to serve others and give to others. That's actually how we create more joy in our lives, by giving to others, by by serving those around us. But that doesn't mean that we don't serve ourselves. And so when you hear that phrase, in some words, people call it a scripture, to do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Well, if you're not treating yourself well, how can you treat others well? So that first person you should serve should be yourself in a non-selfish way, but doing it in a way that then you're giving the best of yourself. You're being the most authentic in order to serve others.
It's so important to really think about what it is that fills your cup. And depending on what stage of life you're in, you may either have forgotten, or the things that used to fill your cup don't do so as well anymore. What recommendations do you have for someone at that point in life?
You know, I think just pausing to ask the question, what makes me happy? What makes me feel whole? What makes me feel balanced? Like I said, it could be as simple as a nap. It could be deciding once a month I'm going to hang out with my girlfriends. It could be putting on the calendar a weekly date night. It could be I want to read a book once a month. So what are those things that used to make me happy? Are those things that still fill my cup? If they're not, what are the things that would now fill my cup? What can I do to challenge myself? What's something new that I can do in this season that might be a little bit different, a little bit uncomfortable, but I want to try that because it's going to stretch me and grow me. So the real thing is to pause and ask yourself those questions, and then really give yourself time to listen to the answers, and don't be afraid of those answers. Lean into it and say, well, you know, because sometimes we'll go into, well, what will other people think, or they're going to laugh at me, or that's so silly. Don't do that to yourself. Honor yourself by answering those questions in a way that are meaningful to you.
And you brought up a good point about small things. We're not saying you have to go on a European vacation to fill your cup. We're saying each and every day there should be something that either keeps your cup full or helps replenish that supply as you're going along. So those could be little tiny things that help us along the way.
Absolutely. But I will tell you, yesterday as I was going through my Mother's Day musings, I was like, I think I need to go to South Africa next year. I was watching a video. There were some beautiful kids singing online on Instagram, and I was like, that's on my bucket list. So yes, we can have those big goals. Now I need to figure out, okay, how am I going to make that happen next year, 2026? So we can have those big goals, but you're absolutely right. It's the small goals. It's those little pours into that cup. Every now and then, I do love hot tea, so I drink a cup of hot tea every night. And when I was parenting when my kids were your kids' age, I was a parenting columnist for the local newspaper, and I interviewed this parenting expert at the time, and I was sharing with her every night. I fix myself a cup of tea. I literally take 2 sips of it, and then the rest just, it doesn't get, finished. And she said, but those 2 cups, that's part of your routine of self-care. And the tea bags cost maybe $4, right. So that's 40 cents a tea bag. So you're okay to pour into yourself. So when you think about the small things that you pour in, also think about the big things that you want to do.
Yeah, and the aspect that you may not finish it all at one time is okay.
Yes.
We've done a little bit, and maybe one day we do drink that whole cup of tea. But in the meantime, we know that we've done a little bit of something for ourselves each day. Pouring from a full cup. Thank you always for your great tips on these Mondays. And we look forward to seeing you next time, of course. Stacy Hawkins Adams offers weekly Motivational Monday emails, and if you're interested in subscribing, you can visit stacyhawkinsadams.com. Well, don't you worry, there's much more in store for us to pour from our cup when we return to Virginia This Morning.